Okay.
Alright, so first off, we just want to thank all y'all for your support in us going on this trip. Whether it was financially, prayerfully, y'all helped us with everything from a ride to the airport, to and from, to watching our dogs, to our kids, to even our fish, right? We really couldn't have went on this trip with the ease of mind that we had without y'all. So we just want to thank y'all for that, first off.
So I wanted to start with a little bit of background for the trip. So we went with All for One Church, that's out of Lancaster. If you know Michael Anderson, who's the pastor there. And a little background on their partnership with Ecuador and specifically where we went. About 15 years ago, I believe, Michael went to this very place for the very first time. So their pastor did. And from that came a partnership that has, I think they've been 7 or 8 times, like, to this same place. And each time they're going back to this church and they're truly partnering with the church. So that gives you a little, like, for the information to come, that'll give you a clearer picture of what that looks like. So they also started a child sponsorship program called iReach, which is international reach to equip all children with hope. So it's $30 a month, like some of your other child sponsorship things. They currently are sponsoring about 30 kids in this program, and so what they say from that is that they're going to have biblical instruction, homework assistance, nutritious meals, and more. So, like, throughout the course of them being in a sponsored, I know, like, they shared while we were there, they've been able to help with, like, a family that lost their home to a house fire, and then another child that was in the sponsorship program, he found out he had a tumor that had to be removed, so they were able to help him with the costs that came after, with the aftercare with medicine and all that kind of stuff. So this partnership is more than just like the child sponsorship, and because it is only 30 kids, what I was like most impressed with is just like the intentionality of the lady that kind of helps correspond with the program and All for One. She lives in Colombia, South America, and she kind of helps translate. But the first year of getting this program started off, like, she lived there for a year. She originally is from Colorado, felt the Lord calling her to the jungle. I'm just like, I can't even go. She couldn't speak Spanish and trusted the Lord. Like, hearing her testimony was wonderful. And I roomed with her, so I got to hear a lot of her story. And she said, you know, the first 6 months, it took her 6 months to learn Spanish. She said the first 3 months, I didn't understand anything. By 3 months in, I started understanding, but then I couldn't communicate back. The next 3 months were the hardest, because she said she could understand, but she couldn't communicate back. And I just need to trust the Lord that much. Wow, you know. So I'm not going to cry the whole time.
And we're not doing this to sell anything. This is just, part of our mission work that we did was heavily involved with these kids. So we saw that to say, which will lead up to a lot of what we've done on this trip.
Yes. So on Sunday, you're telling Sunday? No?
I'm right here.
Okay. So Saturday was our travel day into the jungle Ecuador. So we landed Friday night around midnight in Quito, the capital, and then Saturday was our travel day into the jungle. So we were on a bus ride for about 5-6 hours. So then the Sunday we helped with worship, and in that Michael led worship, but we did the Sunday school for the kids. And Emiliana has a wonderful testimony of like her getting pushed out of her comfort zone, because she was my translator for the little Sunday school. You'll see later in the video that they were building the Tower of Babel. And so we did that, taught Sunday school, and then that afternoon we spent the afternoon playing soccer with the kids at the park and their church family.
Yeah, and so that was Sunday. And then on Monday was a true work day. It was more of what we are used to with Salcahatchee and Spruce Pine. We went to their local church, or to their church, and we poured concrete, we also did, they've acquired the back lot behind them, and they're gonna make I guess like a mini soccer field, but it had to be cleared, and when I say concrete and clearing, it is not like we would do it here. You know, we went to them so we are doing it the way they do it. They don't have everything that we have, so it was really machetes and hand, and I don't know what that whole thing was, but it was helpful. And then the concrete, you'll see in the video that it was a mixer and rocks and a bag of concrete, but it was not. We could not just pull it up to next to where we had to lay the concrete. It was a bit of a walk, and you'll see it. Actually, I think it's that you'll see walking, and that's not even a full walk. And I don't even know how many trips it took of wheelbarrows and concrete, but it was a day, but it was a good day, and we got it all done. We did a path from their outside church, and again you'll see it, but it's a path to get to the building that they have, because it was just dirt, and so that was Monday, pretty much.
Tuesday was the skit, right?
Yes.
They had that in there. But then Tuesday, we went to the church again, and start off we shared, I shared a devotion about God is the only way. So then after that, it was tied into a skit, and the skit showed that you can only go to God instead of anything else in this world. Then we cooked. Brandon was in the kitchen cooking a bunch of food. Helped. He didn't know how to speak it, but he was cooking a bunch of food. We played a bunch of games that y'all will see later in this video. And it's just like they're so grateful to just get out and play these little games that some kids wouldn't be grateful to get out and just be outside. That's basically what happened on Tuesday.
So in that Tuesday, to say a little more, it was like a mock, what they called it, like a mock outreach or outreach day, where like when they come during the school year, this is their nutritional meal. Like they have a little Bible time and everything like that. So it's kind of like a mock day of what that looks like for them. So we got to kind of like go along with that. And that's kind of like the whole goal here, is that we're truly partnering with that church just to strengthen their ministries and encourage and make connections with those kids. It was just a wonderful time there. So on Wednesday, we took the kids on a field trip. And, that was also very interesting because, some of these kids may not have traveled very far outside of their neighborhood before. Then you're trying to contain them and keep them in an orderly fashion, and you're not speaking language. I do remember from VBS several years ago how to say sit down in Spanish. So that came in handy. I was pulling lots of Spanish, but I was pulling Susan and Emiliana and all our other translators like every now and then, just asking for help. But so we took them on a field trip to Missa, something like that, and basically got on a canoe, and we canoed to a little place that they took us on a little motor ride. And that was also an opportunity to trust Jesus a little bit. So basically it was like a motorcycle with like a thing on top. Brandon was taking pictures of the weld, like is this thing gonna hold? He was expecting the weld, missed work, I guess. So that was an adventure. And me and Hunter on the back seat with two kids in between us. And we're just like, oh, okay, Jesus, you got us. You all right? And so that was fun. And then we went to visit a village, and you'll see some footage of that where Quechua is like the native language. So it's similar to like the Native Americans here. This would be their native tribe. So that's the language that they speak, and they kind of shared some of their ritual stuff, I guess, that they do. I don't want to call it ritual, but like dances, cultural stuff with us. So we got to experience that, and that was great. And then, so you got Thursday.
So Thursday would have normally been our travel day back in, because we flew into Quito and then from Quito to Teno, 5-hour bus ride. So Thursday would have been our travel day, and we would have traveled back into Quito and explored downtown. But we had the opportunity to go white water rafting. And I don't even know what the name of this river was. I don't know if I heard it. But, I don't know how many of you have been white water rafting. Here we go to Nantahala a lot. And up here it's you see other boats, you see it's a lot of people around. It's fun. And, but up there was about an hour ride on this bus through what I can only say was not roads that was meant for a bus. It was good, but and we had two boats.
We had a great bus driver.
Yes. But we had 2 boats, and then we had a guy in a kayak. I guess he was the spotter, taking pictures too. But that was just also another step out on faith, because we were the only boats in the whole river. I never saw anybody else, and it was a beautiful scenery. But it just took a little bit. I mean, it was team building, and then it just took a little bit of faith also to do this when you really don't know what. Just white water rafting. It was safe. We had helmets and life jackets, but just to make sure we all got back home safe, we wanted, But it was definitely a step out on faith. It was a good time. But that was a fun day for us.
I always make the joke that anytime we go somewhere with youth, Hunter or Colin are going to be the 2 I'm going to have to pull out the first aid kit for. So I was like, Hunter, I really, really do not want to test out the medical care over here. Please, be careful. So we had a little talk, because he was in the other boat, but he did good.
And nobody fell out on purpose.
On purpose.
I mean, some people fell out on purpose, but no one just fell out by accident.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Brandon,
I got pushed.
We caught him. But so that was Thursday, and that was it. Friday was travel home. I think now we're going to try to transition a little bit into sharing a little bit of reflection questions. But Hunter, I think you wanted to start with, can you share about a relationship or friendship that you made that impacted you?
So when we started, there was these kids named Allison and Eduardo. Wasn't part of the program or anything. They were just at the lodge that we stayed at. It was like the Cook's kids. Well, anyways, we went down to the river one day, and they were down there swimming. And Allison created a bond with Holly, but Eduardo, which he was 10? He was 10, and me and him just become friends. He tried to teach me a little Spanish. Still didn't understand him, but he tried to teach me a little bit of Spanish. He went to
He received a shoebox from Operation Christmas Child, the Samaritan's Purse. So apparently that also, they probably say this somewhere, but it comes with a 12-week discipleship program once they receive the box that they can attend. So he had heard the message and had been studying it, but I think it was cool because Hunter still got to share with him and Allison the gospel.
So then I shared the message to him, but he really wanted to know more about God. And in this video, you're gonna see a lot of us, especially the 6-7 part, and that's my memorable moment.
I do want to reiterate how when Hunter says he made a connection with Eduardo, we would get back from our day, and him and Allison would already be swimming. There was a creek that we would pretty much swim in every day, right around the lodge, the place we stayed. And Eduardo would look over at us, hey, whatever, and you can see him looking. So I just automatically like Hunter's coming. Don't worry, buddy. He's coming. And so his connection with him, not only but all the kids, was very much something that was good. Alright, so I will say one of the questions that was given to us was interaction has impacted you the most? And for me, there was so many, and I actually have I guess I'll say two, but teaching Sunday school. So I ended up teaching Sunday school on that Sunday, and that was our first day out. And I taught Sunday school class here, plenty of times, but that was the first time that I've actually had to use a translator. The translators I kept them close up all week. So it was stepping outside of my comfort zone, and not only teaching them, but as I'm teaching them, the Sunday school lessons, we all talk about the Tower of Babel. So you'll see why we're playing with spaghetti noodles and marshmallows in the video we are building it. But as I was teaching them, I had the realization of the youth there and the youth here. So I was teaching the 12 to 15-year-olds. They are so different in the way we live, where we live, and how we live. But at the end of the day, they're not much different from the kids here. Their willingness and readiness to learn and just to want to know God, to love God, and to listen to someone who is looking at me how they looked at her when she's speaking. But then whenever it would be translated, to see their face change, it was an experience that's hard to forget. So, but like I said, that was just one of many moments. But I will say, our team, we went with all for one, and we had everybody from 14-year-old, 14, 15, all the way to a 75-year-old. And looking at the team, we had everything from that age to that age, and everything in between. But it's amazing to see how God puts a team together, and how everybody's ability and their strengths was used at some point, whether it was to connect with kids or to help others connect with kids. The team that we went with could not have meshed better, in my opinion.
It was great. I want to ask Emiliana, will you share your question from last week? I think it was maybe like an experience that impacted you, because I think it was kind of off of the Sunday school. And then I would love for Susan to also share. We had questions last week at All for One that we answered, and I think if you could share about
your question paper.
I can't remember saying our bus driver. Yes.
Liz?
Yeah.
Okay, so my question for last week at my church was what was it? It was like, what pushed me out of my comfort zone the most? And my answer to that was, like, on the first day, Sunday, I had to teach a Sunday school class, but not only like by myself, well, with Holly, of course, but I had to teach them in Spanish, and it was just kind of difficult because I've never taught a Sunday school, and much less in Spanish. But Hunter and Holly helped me, and yeah.
She did great.
No question.
I don't remember your question either, but I know Susan took the most of every opportunity, I feel like, to really share the gospel, and I loved getting to see her do that. So, and I think there's a couple pictures in there. So, if you want to share about the bus driver.
So, I'll start with this. That I had I knew I wanted to go.
I need you to get me a chair.
When it first was announced, and I wasn't sure if it was me or if God wanted me to go. I'll start there. And he showed that to us later because we had some donations come in straight for Liliana's full ticket, and then a good bit of a portion of mine. So immediately I knew, okay, I'm supposed to be going. There's that. Then I'm like, oh, maybe it's Satan, because it's like, you're only going to be there like 3 days. What are you going to do in 3 days? Like travel, all those things. All those things are floating like, what can we really do? We could send money, that's better. Right? Maybe you guys have thought that. So while we're there, we were there. I do speak Spanish, and I guess we had breakfast, we had dinner, and everybody came together. Our bus driver very quiet fellow. And they said that the previous bus driver was really outgoing, always did stuff with the group, and always here and there. Just this guy, he was really quiet, and he sat down close to us one day and just like chit chat, how are you, what's family, blah blah blah, all that. No big deal. Well, the table is full of people speaking English. We've got a couple of translators. The next day, I noticed he sat down again. He said, "Can I sit here?" I was like, "Sure." I guess it was that day that I realized our God showed me, hey, he's sitting here, let's talk with him, because he can't talk to anybody else. Everybody else was chatting. Anyway, we were all chatting about something, and I really felt the need to ask him, "Are you a Christian?" And he said, "No, I believe in God, but I'm not a Christian." So Bobby that was sitting in front of me, she's like, "What does he say?" She's trying to translate. And so I was telling her, and then he said, then I said, "So tell me, what's the difference with that? Tell me what you mean by that. Like, you believe in God, but you're not a Christian. What's the difference there?" So he went on to talk to me about some different things. Bobby realized, and she cut off, and she started talking to everybody else. So then we were just basically one-on-one, just talking. That was I don't know what day, third day. And so I knew then God had put him there. And I had been praying for an encounter with the Lord, because every single day we can have an encounter with the Lord if we pray for it and if we're looking for it. He opened my eyes to him, because in us is nothing good except for Jesus, right? So I guess the following day, we had started preparing these bracelets we were going to share with the kids on the field trip day that we went on. And 2 different people were going to be shared. So they came to me like, "Okay, help me with this, because I want you to translate for me." I was like, "Okay." So I practiced with them twice, 2 sets of different people. Well, we ended up not even doing the bracelets that day because of routine and schedules changed or whatever. Well, I already knew, because Cesar had asked, "Can I get one of these bracelets? It's a little beaded bracelet with a cross on it." I said, "Sure." So I got him one. And I knew I was going to get him this one because I was thinking on Friday or Thursday, we'll have a lot of time together, and I can sit down and really just share what this salvation bracelet means. But Thursday night at dinner, Wednesday night dinner, he said, "Can you tell me what those colors mean?" I was like, my plans were tomorrow. And so I said, "Well, I can. I was planning to do it tomorrow, but I'll do it now." And so I started sharing the colors and what they mean.
Way to go.
And if you don't know what they mean, I'm going to let one of these guys tell you, because I'm talking too much. Anyway, he, through all that, he did accept Jesus Christ as his Savior. And one thing that Michael pointed out, and I didn't think about it that way, is that we came to support the church. We came to be with the kids. But God had a purpose for each of us to be there. I was translating, but thankfully I was able to be a blessing to the Lord, and this guy came from darkness to the light on that trip. And so Cesar is our brother now.
I'll add one more thing I thought was cool is the night that he ended up asking about it. It was also very intentional that I felt like God intervened in that, because Pablo, the pastor for the church, was able to be there, and just as an added layer of like Spanish speaking, and able to also make the connection with him to kind of really pray and with him and just lead that process. But it was great to see. I know we're getting ready to show the little video, and then Hunter's going to share some more reflections with you guys quickly. But I wanted to share one thing. I know a couple weeks ago when y'all were sending us off, the pastor asked me to share like how this trip came about for me. So some of you may have heard, but it started with me listening to a podcast and praying a prayer of, "God, if this is something you want me to consider an international mission trip, open the doors and I'll be obedient." And in recent months, through other studies that I've been doing and everything, I feel like one of the things God's been revealing to me is like the importance of storytelling. So yes, I had to be obedient. Yes, I felt the Holy Spirit to say the prayer, but it all started with the podcast and me just listening to somebody else's story. So there's power in stories, and I just feel like sometimes with all the distractions of the world, we only want to share the good stuff. We don't want to share the nitty gritty, the hard, every part of the story and how God is faithful in the lows, in the highs, all of that is relevant to sharing the story and the message of Jesus and His love. And one of the things that I've felt, I started that day with that prayer and got that text message at lunchtime and felt like I needed to be obedient. But why can't that be my prayer every day? Lord, open doors for me today to share a story about how you've been good to me, how you've been faithful to me, so that others can come to know your love. So that's my prayer now, and Lord, help me be obedient when I see the door, because sometimes it's hard to take that step of faith to share. So now we'll watch a video recap.
Then you, Lord, no one else we come here for.
Well, you can see in the video that we had a really awesome week. There's some devotions that Pastor Michael did while we were there that I wanted to come back and share. So everyone has this chair in their life. It's a place where your control comes from. Something or someone is sitting in that chair. It could be your money, your family, or you. And my personal person that's sitting in that chair is myself. Some questions are, what controls your life? What controls your decisions? So, if I'm sitting in this chair and Jesus comes up to me, it might be for your money or your family. If Jesus comes up to me and asks, can he take a seat in this chair? For me, I would want to just scoot over a little bit so I'm still comfortable so Jesus could sit in this chair. I wouldn't give all my trust to Jesus just to have control, because this is where your control comes from. So, in that, what would you say yes to? Would you say, yes, Jesus, you can have all the control and trust him in everything and just get up? Or what would you say no to? Would you tell him that you're not comfortable and you don't fully trust him? So this is our first devotion night in the jungle in Ecuador. These questions really helped me thinking about what is controlling my life. For some, it might even be a job. And for me, I put myself in that chair. What's a time that you've gotten out of the chair and allowed God to be in full control of your life? I can't say there's been a time that I fully allowed him to be in control. In order to give him full control, we have to surrender. Surrender means, in the dictionary says, to give up completely, especially in favor of another. So what does it look like for us to give up and go in favor of God? We get out of the chair and allow him to have full control of our lives. Galatians 2:20 says, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. That verse really puts surrender in perspective. It's not about me anymore. It's about Christ living through me. In order to get out of this chair, you have to put all your trust in him. This is one of the reasons I've struggled to let God have my chair. So the opportunity to go into the jungle and speak to kids, I don't even know how to speak to. Getting on a plane for the first time, stepping completely out of my comfort zone. It wasn't really necessarily ideal for me to be there, but I wasn't there for myself. I was there to share about him. I was there to get out of the chair and put him in control. I was there to build my trust in him. And when we surrender to God, we begin to understand just how much he has already surrendered for us. Romans 5:8 says, but God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. He still loved us before we ever chose him. He loved us when we were still sinners, and he gave himself for us. Isaiah 53:5 says, but he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we were healed. So in this it says, Jesus took our place. He took the punishment and he gave us peace. And because of what he did for us, we can trust him enough to surrender our lives to him. That doesn't mean surrender is always easy. You might be like me and be stuck on how to trust God and move forward to make progress as you're trying to go, but you're not moving. Have you ever felt like your walk with the Lord is like walking on a treadmill? Where you run, and when you get done, you feel like you've run so far. Where did you actually move to? Nowhere. You're still right in the same spot you started. This was an illustration that Pastor Michael used one night that really hit me. Because with me, I'm running so fast on this treadmill, but I'm not going anywhere. I've been trying to read my Bible more, share more about him, and do more for him, but but I'm not really surrendering all myself to Him. I'm trying to move forward in my own strength and instead of allowing Him to lead me. And this is where I think Luke 19:9 through 10 becomes so powerful. Jesus said, "Today's salvation has come to this house because this man too is a son of Abraham, for the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." Jesus came to seek and save the lost. He came looking for us. He came for people who were far from Him. He came for people who needed Him. And He came for me, and He came for you. So maybe getting out of your chair isn't about trying harder. Maybe it's about trusting Him more. Maybe it's about realizing that I don't have to control everything. I don't have to know exactly where He is taking me. I just have to be willing to get out of the chair and let Him lead me. One question we were asked was, how can I stay surrendered? It's not a one-time decision. It's an everyday decision, day by day, minute by minute. Every morning, getting out of the chair, every decision, choosing to trust Him, every opportunity, asking, God, what do you want me to do? And every time I want to take control back, remember that He is better at being in the chair than I am. That's one of the biggest things God showed me in Ecuador. I went to the jungle thinking I was going to help share His love with other people. But God used the experience to show me just how much I needed to surrender to Him. I thought I was going to Ecuador to help others move closer to Jesus, but maybe God has also taken me there so I could be moved closer to Him, to trust Him, to surrender Him, and to get out of the chair and let Christ live through me.